My beloved soul, listen closely, because something sacred is unfolding around your life at this very moment. There is a quiet movement taking place behind the visible world, a shift so subtle that many would miss it if their spirit were not attentive. Yet your heart felt something, didn't it? That small inner nudge that told you this message matters. It was not coincidence that you arrived here today. There is something happening behind the scenes. Something deliberate, something precise, something that heaven itself has been arranging in silence. For a long time you sensed that certain events in your life were not random. Certain faces, certain conversations, certain sudden changes carried a strange weight. You could not fully explain it, but your spirit recognized that a hidden story was unfolding around you. And now the moment has come when that hidden story begins to surface. There were things done quietly around you, words spoken when you were not present, intentions formed in rooms where your name was mentioned but your voice was absent. Some people believed that secrecy would protect them. They believed that if their plans stayed hidden long enough, the truth would never reach the light. But what they did not understand is that nothing created in the shadows escapes the awareness of heaven. Even the smallest whisper that rises against a faithful soul is heard in places far beyond human ears. For a season, you may have wondered why certain situations felt confusing. Why the atmosphere around certain relationships shifted without explanation. Why doors that once seemed open suddenly became uncertain. Your heart noticed the change, yet you could not clearly see the source. And that uncertainty weighed on you. Not because you lacked strength, but because you are a soul that values truth. When truth becomes clouded, the spirit begins searching for clarity. But hear this carefully, the confusion was never a sign that you were losing direction. It was evidence that forces were working quietly behind the surface. There were individuals who believed they could manipulate circumstances without consequence. They assumed their actions would remain buried beneath layers of silence. Some even convinced themselves that time would erase what they had done. They felt comfortable. They felt protected. They believed the story had already been written in their favor. Yet there is a reality they overlooked. The spiritual realm does not operate by human assumptions. What unfolds in the unseen world eventually touches the visible world. What is whispered in hidden places eventually echoes in open spaces. And when heaven begins to move, no strategy designed in secrecy can outrun the truth that follows behind it. Right now, something is shifting. It may not yet appear dramatic on the surface, but the atmosphere around your life is changing. A quiet rearrangement has begun. Pieces that once seemed scattered are moving into alignment. Situations that felt unresolved are slowly being brought into order. Even the people who once felt confident in their silence are beginning to sense an unfamiliar pressure around them. They cannot explain it. They may try to ignore it. But deep inside, they feel that something is different now. Because the moment heaven turns its attention toward a matter, the environment around that matter begins to transform. This is why your spirit has been unusually alert lately. You may have noticed a heightened awareness in your heart. A sense that something important is approaching, even if you could not yet see what it was. That awareness is not anxiety. It is preparation. It is the quiet signal that the season of hidden things is reaching its end. And as that season closes, another reality begins to rise. Truth does not rush. It does not panic. It does not need to defend itself loudly. Truth simply waits for the appointed moment when the light becomes strong enough to reveal everything clearly. That moment is drawing closer. Those who believed they were untouchable are slowly realizing that the ground beneath their confidence is not as stable as they imagined. The silence they once relied on is beginning to thin. The protection they assumed they had is beginning to weaken. And the certainty they once felt is slowly turning into uncertainty. You may not yet see the full picture, but heaven does. Every detail has been observed. Every action recorded. Every hidden intention understood in perfect clarity. Nothing about your story has been overlooked. Even the moments when you felt alone in the struggle were fully seen from above. And this is why the atmosphere is shifting now. Because there comes a point when silence is no longer necessary, and revelation begins its quiet approach. What makes this moment even more powerful is that the people who thought they were safe still believe they have time. They still assume that the past is buried deeply enough that it will never rise again. They still believe that the paths they created for themselves will remain open forever. But they are about to discover something they never anticipated. A door they believed would always remain open is quietly closing. A path they thought guaranteed their escape is beginning to disappear. And while they continue moving forward with confidence, heaven has already begun altering the direction of the road ahead of them. Because the truth about hidden things is this: when the appointed moment arrives, exposure does not ask permission. It simply arrives. And what they never expected is that the very door they were planning to escape through has already been closed by heaven itself. My beloved soul, there were moments when you questioned your own understanding of what was happening around you. Not because you lacked wisdom, but because the situation itself felt strangely inconsistent. People who once spoke kindly began to behave differently. Conversations that used to flow naturally suddenly carried tension beneath the surface. You noticed subtle shifts, tones of voice changing, attitudes becoming colder, and responses that felt unusually distant. You tried to reason through it, telling yourself that perhaps you were imagining things, that maybe circumstances were simply stressful for everyone involved. But deep inside, something in your spirit kept whispering that there was more to the story. You were not confused because you lacked clarity. You were confused because certain truths were deliberately hidden from you. There were layers beneath what you could see. Actions that did not match the words being spoken. Intentions that were carefully disguised behind polite expressions. And while you tried to approach every situation with patience and understanding, there were individuals who quietly took advantage of that patience. They believed your calm nature meant you would never question what was happening around you. Yet your heart felt the tension. You noticed when people began acting strangely. You sensed when the atmosphere in certain spaces changed the moment you arrived. You could feel when conversations stopped abruptly or when glances were exchanged in silence. None of those moments were random. Your spirit was simply detecting what your eyes had not yet been allowed to see. And perhaps the most confusing part was the sudden closing of certain doors. Opportunities that once seemed certain suddenly dissolved without explanation. Plans that appeared promising quietly collapsed. Connections that once felt supportive became distant or unavailable. In those moments you may have asked yourself difficult questions. You wondered if you had done something wrong. You examined your own actions, searching for mistakes that might explain what was happening. But hear this clearly, beloved soul, not every closed door is a punishment. Sometimes a door closes because it was quietly being sabotaged behind the scenes. There were unseen tensions surrounding certain paths in your life. People who carried hidden motives interfered in ways that were subtle but deliberate. Their words influenced situations you could not see. Their intentions quietly redirected outcomes without your knowledge. They believed that if they could alter enough small details, the larger picture would eventually shift in their favor. And for a season, it seemed as though their strategy was working. But what they did not understand is that while human eyes may overlook many things, heaven never overlooks the intentions of the heart. Every whispered conversation. Every hidden motive. Every quiet attempt to manipulate the direction of your life was seen with perfect clarity. There was never a moment when your story escaped the attention of the one who watches over you. Even when you felt uncertain, you were not unprotected. Even when situations felt unfair, you were not abandoned. There was a deeper movement taking place beyond what you could perceive. In the unseen realm, a quiet conflict was unfolding. Not the kind of conflict that appears on the surface of daily life, but the kind that determines the direction of events long before they become visible. Forces of deception were attempting to shape outcomes, while truth itself was patiently waiting for the right moment to intervene. And while you were simply trying to move forward with honesty and integrity, the tension between those forces was slowly reaching a turning point. This is why certain situations felt heavy without explanation. This is why your spirit sometimes felt weary even when you had done nothing wrong. Your heart was navigating through an atmosphere where hidden intentions were quietly at work. But that season is shifting now. Because the same silence that once allowed hidden manipulation to operate is now giving way to exposure. Those who believed their influence would remain unnoticed are beginning to feel something they did not expect: pressure. A subtle discomfort that grows stronger with each passing moment. They may not fully understand why it is happening, but deep within their conscience there is a growing awareness that the balance of the situation is changing. The protection they assumed they had is beginning to dissolve. The secrecy they relied on is beginning to weaken. And the confidence they once carried is slowly turning into uncertainty. Meanwhile, something else is happening within you. Where there was once confusion, clarity is beginning to emerge. Where there was once frustration, a strange calm is settling into your spirit. It may feel subtle right now, but that calm is not accidental. It is the quiet assurance that the truth of your story has already been seen, already been understood, and already been addressed in ways you could not yet see. Because long before the situation reached this moment, heaven had already taken notice. Nothing you experienced was invisible. Nothing that was done against you was ignored. Every hidden action has already been measured against truth itself. And as that truth begins to move into the open, the entire atmosphere surrounding this situation will begin to change. You will see things that once felt confusing suddenly make sense. Conversations will unfold that reveal more than people intended to show. Circumstances will shift in ways that expose the fragile foundations of the plans that were made behind your back. This is not revenge. This is alignment. When truth steps forward, deception naturally loses its place. And the most remarkable part of this unfolding moment is that those who participated in the hidden action still believe they have time to control the outcome. They still assume they can quietly adjust their strategies if necessary. They believe they can escape the consequences simply by staying silent long enough. But there is something they have not considered. Heaven has already reviewed the entire situation. Every detail. Every motive. Every secret decision that was made when they thought no one was watching. And what heaven has decided about them is something they never prepared for. My beloved soul, what you are hearing is not merely comfort meant to soothe your emotions. This moment carries a deeper authority than human reassurance. What is unfolding around your life is rooted in divine order, an order that was established long before any hidden action was taken against you. Heaven does not respond impulsively, and it does not move according to human pressure. It moves according to truth. And when truth speaks, every hidden intention must eventually stand before it. There is a reason why the sacred writings repeatedly remind humanity that justice does not sleep. In Ecclesiastes 12 verse 14, it is written that every deed will be brought into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. That declaration was never meant as a distant warning meant only for some far-off day. It is a living principle woven into the fabric of how the spiritual realm operates. Nothing done in secrecy remains permanently sealed. Every action carries a spiritual record, and every record waits for its appointed moment of examination. And right now, beloved soul, the atmosphere surrounding your situation is beginning to resemble that very moment. For a long time, those who worked quietly against you believed they were operating outside the view of accountability. They assumed that the lack of immediate consequence meant the matter had passed unnoticed. Yet the silence they interpreted as safety was simply patience. Heaven often allows time to unfold so that every intention can fully reveal itself. Because true justice does not act on incomplete understanding. It waits until the entire picture is clear. That picture is now complete. Another ancient promise echoes into this moment. In Isaiah 54 verse 17, it is declared that no weapon formed against a faithful soul will ultimately succeed, and every voice that rises in accusation will be proven wrong. This promise does not mean that attempts will never occur. It means that the final outcome is already determined. Strategies may be formed, whispers may be spoken, and plans may be carefully constructed, but none of them possess the authority to override the protection that truth carries with it. You may have wondered why you felt the strength to remain calm even during confusing moments. That calm was not weakness. It was the quiet protection of heaven surrounding your spirit. While others were busy weaving strategies in secret, a greater authority was preserving your position. And now that authority is beginning to move. In the unseen realm, shifts are taking place that human eyes cannot yet fully perceive. Just as earthly courts rely on witnesses, evidence, and the presentation of truth, the spiritual realm operates with its own order of testimony. Nothing arrives in chaos. Everything unfolds with precision. The forces assigned to defend righteousness do not act randomly. They respond when the moment of justice arrives. And that moment is closer now than those who opposed you ever imagined. There are movements taking place beyond human sight, movements that redirect conversations, alter circumstances, and bring hidden details into the light. Situations that once felt stable for those who worked in secrecy are beginning to shift in subtle ways. Their confidence is slowly being replaced by unease. Their certainty is quietly unraveling. They may try to dismiss that feeling. They may attempt to convince themselves that everything remains under control. But deep within their spirit, a realization is forming. Something is watching. Something is measuring. Something is approaching. Because when divine justice begins its movement, the entire atmosphere surrounding a situation begins to change. Silence becomes heavier. Conversations become cautious. And the very individuals who once felt untouchable begin sensing that their position is no longer secure. Another sacred assurance speaks into this moment as well. In Luke 12 verse 2, it is written that nothing concealed will remain hidden forever, and nothing secret will stay unknown. Everything that has been covered will eventually be revealed. That statement is not poetic exaggeration. It is a spiritual law. The hidden conversations that shaped certain outcomes. The quiet decisions that influenced doors around you. The subtle manipulations designed to redirect your path. None of those things have escaped the light that now approaches. And this is where the atmosphere begins to resemble a courtroom. Not a courtroom built by human hands, but a higher place of examination where truth carries absolute authority. In that place, every motive stands without disguise. Every action is weighed according to its intention. And every hidden strategy is exposed to the clarity of divine understanding. The people who believed their silence guaranteed their safety are about to discover that silence cannot erase evidence. Because heaven does not rely on rumor. Heaven operates on truth. Right now, forces of alignment are moving quietly into position. Circumstances will begin shifting in ways that bring conversations to the surface. Unexpected revelations will appear in moments that seem almost accidental. Details that once appeared insignificant will suddenly carry meaning. Those who worked behind the scenes may attempt to adjust their actions when they sense the shift. They may try to distance themselves from decisions they once confidently supported. They may even attempt to rewrite their version of the story. But truth does not need rewriting. Truth only needs the right moment to appear. And when that moment arrives, it does not whisper, it stands. You may not yet see how the pieces will connect, but the process has already begun. The spiritual movement that started quietly is now approaching the stage where evidence begins to surface. Situations will unfold that reveal what was once hidden beneath polite appearances. And when that revelation begins, it will become impossible for anyone to pretend they were unaware. Because the moment heaven sends its witnesses, no secret can remain hidden. My beloved soul, the moment you have been sensing in your spirit is no longer far away. For a long time the truth surrounding your situation moved quietly beneath the surface, like a current flowing beneath still water. You could feel that something was not right, yet the full picture remained hidden from your eyes. Now that quiet current is rising. What was once buried beneath layers of silence is approaching the surface where it can no longer remain concealed. This is the turning point. Those who believed they could move through your story unnoticed are beginning to realize that the season of secrecy is ending. The confidence they once carried is weakening. The comfort they once felt in silence is slowly being replaced by tension. Because deep within their spirit they can sense that the protection they relied on is slipping away. Truth has begun its ascent. And when truth begins to rise, it does not need to fight for attention. It simply becomes visible. There will be moments very soon when pieces of the story that once seemed confusing will suddenly align with clarity. Words spoken carelessly will reveal intentions that were meant to remain hidden. Situations will unfold that bring details into the open without anyone needing to force them. It will almost feel as though the truth itself is stepping forward to speak. This is the moment many never prepared for. Because the people who quietly worked against you assumed that time was on their side. They believed the longer silence lasted, the safer they would become. They assumed the past would fade quietly into the background. But the opposite is happening. The longer truth waits, the stronger its voice becomes when it finally appears. You may soon witness subtle changes in the behavior of those who once seemed confident. Conversations may become careful. Explanations may appear suddenly where none were offered before. There may even be attempts to redirect attention or reshape the narrative. Do not be surprised when that happens. When hidden things approach exposure, those who created them often try to protect themselves in the final moments before the truth arrives. And this is where your wisdom becomes important. Your role in this moment is not to chase the truth or force the exposure yourself. You do not need to argue with those who misunderstood you. You do not need to defend yourself with loud explanations or emotional reactions. The very power of this moment lies in the fact that you are not the one bringing the truth forward. Heaven is. Your responsibility is much simpler, though it may feel difficult at times. Remain calm. Do not allow anger to guide your actions. Do not let the memory of what was done to you turn your heart toward bitterness. Those reactions may feel justified in the moment, but they would only distract from what heaven is already accomplishing. Instead, remain steady. Continue walking with integrity. Continue speaking with honesty. Continue moving forward with the quiet confidence that your story has already been seen and understood in places far beyond human opinion. Because when truth finally stands in the open, it carries its own authority. It does not need shouting. It does not need revenge. It simply reveals. And when that revelation begins to unfold, you will notice something remarkable. The same people who once questioned you may begin to look at the situation differently. The same voices that once carried doubt may suddenly fall silent. The same atmosphere that once felt heavy around your name will begin to clear. This is how restoration begins. Not through arguments, not through retaliation, but through the steady appearance of truth that cannot be denied. There is strength in the way you have endured this season. You chose patience when anger would have been easier. You chose dignity when confrontation might have seemed satisfying. And those choices have positioned you perfectly for the moment that is now approaching. Because when heaven defends a soul, it does not merely expose deception. It restores what was quietly damaged. Reputation, peace, clarity, confidence. All of these things begin to return when truth finally stands where deception once tried to hide. So do not rush this moment. Do not feel the need to control the outcome. Stand still in the confidence that the story is already being corrected in ways you could never orchestrate yourself. And as the final pieces begin to move into place, one thing will become unmistakably clear: the escape those individuals believed they had created for themselves no longer exists. Because the final move heaven is preparing will not only expose them, it will restore you. My beloved soul, as this moment unfolds, I want you to pause for a breath and allow your spirit to settle into the truth that has been spoken over you. What you have heard is not merely a message meant to stir your emotions for a moment. It is a reminder of the deeper protection that has always surrounded your life, even during seasons when the path felt uncertain. There were days when the weight of confusion tried to press heavily on your heart. There were nights when questions lingered in your mind without clear answers. Yet even during those moments, heaven was not distant from your story. Now, before anything else continues, allow this moment to become a quiet prayer between your soul and the one who sees everything. May the peace of heaven rest upon your heart right now. May every shadow of fear, every lingering doubt, and every trace of anxiety be lifted from your spirit. Let a covering of protection settle over your life like a calm shield that no hidden intention can penetrate. May every plan formed against your path lose its influence and fall away before it ever reaches you. May the truth of your story stand strong, untouched by manipulation, untouched by false accusation, untouched by every attempt that was made in secret. And may justice move with wisdom. Not the kind of justice born from anger, but the kind that flows from truth itself. The kind that restores what was threatened and exposes what was hidden. Let every action that was meant to harm your progress be transformed into a testimony of protection. Let every whisper that tried to distort your name lose its voice before the clarity of truth. And may the peace that comes from knowing heaven has seen everything settle deeply into your spirit. Beloved soul, your destiny has never been determined by the opinions of people. It has never been controlled by hidden conversations or quiet schemes. The path written for your life was established long before those moments ever occurred. And nothing that happened behind the scenes has the authority to rewrite what heaven has already planned for you. So let this prayer seal something within you tonight. Let it seal courage where fear once tried to live. Let it seal peace where confusion once lingered. Let it seal confidence where doubt once whispered. Because the season that surrounded your life with hidden tension is now giving way to a season of clarity. There will come moments ahead when you will look back at everything that happened and finally understand why certain doors closed, why certain people revealed their true character, and why certain paths suddenly shifted direction. What once felt like disruption will reveal itself as protection. What once looked like loss will reveal itself as redirection towards something far greater. And as that realization unfolds, another truth will become impossible to ignore. Those who believed they could quietly escape the consequences of their actions are about to encounter the reality they never prepared for. The silence they relied upon has ended. The secrecy they trusted has weakened. The confidence they once carried has begun to crumble. Because when heaven begins defending a soul, it does not happen quietly forever. There comes a moment when truth steps forward in the open. A moment when the hidden story becomes visible to those who once doubted it. A moment when the very people who believed they were untouchable realize that the foundation beneath their plans has already collapsed. This is not about humiliation. This is about alignment. Truth restoring what deception tried to distort. And as that restoration unfolds, your responsibility remains simple: remain steady, remain humble, and remain grateful for the protection that has carried you through this season. If this message has reached your heart today, let it become more than just words you heard once and forgot. Let it become a declaration you carry with you. A quiet affirmation that the story surrounding your life is already being guided by hands far greater than your own. Many people who hear this message will feel that same confirmation in their spirit. If you are one of them, you can simply pause and whisper "Amen" as a sign that your heart agrees with the truth being spoken. That simple word is not just a comment, it is a declaration of faith that the protection and justice of heaven is already moving. And if you know someone who is walking through a season of hidden battles and silent confusion, consider sharing this message with them. Sometimes a single reminder is all a weary heart needs to regain its strength. Moments like this are also part of a larger mission, to spread messages that strengthen faith, restore hope, and remind people that they are never alone in their struggles. If you feel led to support that mission, even a simple act of encouragement or support helps keep these words reaching the people who need them most. But above all, remember this: the story surrounding your life has never been controlled by secrecy. It has always been held in the hands of truth. And now that truth is rising. The season of hidden manipulation is ending. The path that once seemed uncertain is becoming clear again. And the individuals who believed they had already escaped accountability are about to realize that their confidence was built on an illusion. Because from this moment forward, the balance of the situation has shifted. Heaven has seen. Heaven has measured. And heaven has already begun its response. And from this moment forward, the chapter of their escape is closed, because heaven has already written the verdict.